here. Let's make some noise, Blizzard Arena. Let's get into it. It's going to be EnvyUs to kick us off.
Seagull primarily only playing Pharah for this EnvyUs lineup. They'll start things off with a triple DPS comp. What do they do if the Pharah doesn't work? Do they switch Seagull to a Zarya? Do they move Effect off of the Tracer? That'll be interesting to see.
Again, it's going to be like playing whack-a-mole with all these threats on the side of EnvyUs. Triple DPS and McCree even being thrown into the mix, which is a big alarm bell ringing for Carpe, for example, who needs to be very careful of how close he gets, lest that flash catches him unawares. So far, EnvyUs have at least taken position here. They know they're in a decent spot to do a bit of brawling. They got a lot of front-loader damage available to them, and Seagull's more than happy to perch up here on the lighthouse. Point not quite captured, should I say. EnvyUs are just giving it a tickle at the moment, hoping that Faze Clan come to the party.
Yeah, they've got Faze on the point. Spree and Carpe are there, just trying to contest this. That's going to be the point going over to Faze here at the beginning, but Faze collapses on the point. You don't have your diva in her mech. Seagull comes down, rains a bunch of rockets. Oh, by the way, you have Effect coming through on the Tracer, Taimu on the McCree. There's just so much damage for Faze Clan to deal with.
I get it, Matt. You're at the beach. Seagulls are not that uncommon a sight, but when there's one sat behind you shooting rockets, you'd think they'd turn to try and address that particular issue. It was not the case, and for Seagull, it was like picking fruit from the tree, ripe as you like, and now Taimu has an opportunity to set up and use his high ground. He's got so much coverage over the middle part of the map. Faze Clan, before they even think about trying to contest this point, they need to deal with the bulk of EnvyUs setup, interpose between them and their goal.
Well, we talked about yesterday during the Envy match, like who do you prioritize in terms of targets? Who do you go after? You see Shadowburn here just shooting at Taimu up in the sky. Taimu will pop the Deadeye. Oh, almost connects with Rockets there. Will throw a flash, doesn't connect with Joe Meister, but makes it very difficult to figure out who you're going to go after first. It'll be Seagull taking out Back Fiction. Carpe answers it back. It'll be the res coming in from Chipsa, bringing Seagull back into the fight.
Now, Shadowburn's turn to come in with a barrage, but he's cut down. Both Pharahs are off the map for the most part here. The Reses was there. Well, Shadowburn and Fact Fiction to get back up on their feet, but it was a little bit too late. And now Taimu, it's free reign to work around the point. Again, you notice so far in this round, Taimu's really been careful of breaking line of sight from the threats of Faze Clan. We saw him earlier before the point was contested, really making sure he was out of sight, trying to get the drop on towards Shadowburn and Raucous with that Deadeye. Didn't work out, but you see the rest of EnvyUs was there and ready to deliver. It's 49-30, Faze Clan in control, and now the buck stops at EnvyUs to make their move.
Yeah, and Envy has the sound barrier if they want to invest into this fight. Faze Clan, though, you have Fact Fiction with the Primal Rage, can extend the fight on the point. You also have a sound barrier of your own. Carpe uses his Pulse Bomb, doesn't get anything for it. It'll be Envy using the sound barrier.
Effect really not doing too much back and forth there, just trying to whittle down this Diva mech. Seagull's taking down Shadowburn off of screen, but Carpe gets on towards Taimu there, picks him up, and in the process, the mech of Spree was destroyed. Now Effect to try and get up in the face of Raucous. He's found him. It's a slap to the back of the head, and that's going to be enough to dispatch the Mercy. Coco and Effect are also there, and you better believe this man is hard to catch.
Effect just doing so much work on the point. Seagull getting close to a barrage. You have Chips getting close to a res here. Yet again, Carpe makes the switch, so he goes over to McCree now, which I think is interesting because now you lose a lot of that pressure that you could have put on Taimu, that you could have put on Harry, you know, in the back line, because you don't have that Tracer to get all the way back there.
And you forfeit a lot of survivability playing McCree. He needs to be babysat, but Raucous is busy dealing with Shadowburn, so Carpe needs to play these margins very, very safely if he can. Seagull as well, more than happy to sit back here. Notice Chips is damage boosting, but he's looking for Raucous. He might have found a juicier target than his opposition number, but Carpe's found Taimu in the meantime. Seagull still hunting his quarry. Could Raucous get out? Yes! He gets to the safety of the bubble just in time, and Shadowburn finds him suspended in midair using the barrage, and Shadowburn, it's an easy target for him to pick off, but this is always the problem. EnvyUs have more threats than you can keep track of, and those threats have done work on towards the point. 96%, Faze Clan trying to get towards the point, but this fight is done and dusted. Spree over the edge, and that's it. Round one going towards EnvyUs.
So we've seen this a little bit during the regular season from Envy as well. Taimu on the Roadhog. We've only seen it on Gibraltar. We're going to see it here on EnvyUs. It's something that they can throw at you as well. Now, you were saying, maybe, you know, Effect or Seagull, they'll be the ones that run the second tank. It'll be Taimu here. Shadowburn cuts right through Chips at the beginning. Seagull going to lose his Mercy. Not going to be able to play that aggressive in the sky now.
Shadowburn more than happy to pick low-hanging fruit when it's got a halo and some angel wings. There's no doubt about that. Point not quite captured by Faze Clan. They do have the advantage, they move forward. And let's keep an eye on this Roadhog as the round continues, because Spree needs to have his wits about him. Obviously, there's nothing you can do to prevent a hook coming in as that Diva. You're going to get hooked in and a lot of damage towards you. You can really get rid of that mech early on in the piece. But Shadowburn, again, he finds Effect before the fight even starts. Maybe a slight overextension there for the Korean national, and Taimu really all he can do is try and poke into the point and find some free damage.
Yeah, with those early picks coming out from Shadowburn, not going to make much progress to get back towards the point. See, Faze Clan, you're building up towards a Dragon Blade. Taimu just trying to land one of these hooks here, but with Carpe and Shadowburn just flying around, it'll be very difficult for him to get any work done. You see Shadowburn in the sky going at Ships and Seagull yet again.
Timing now as well, just going to take a breather for a moment. Pulse Bomb comes in, he hooks Carpe in. That's the taste of his own medicine he never wished he'd have to deal with. So that's going to be a trade out. Ultimately, they're in effect now in the absence of his opposite number, is able to hunt down Joe Meister, Spree, and Fact Fiction. This is what happens when you leave a Tracer to his own devices, especially one as masterful as Effect. Wiping the floor with Faze Clan. The cleanup crew was there. And now it's going to be 7% to 43. EnvyUs control for the first time this round.
And Shadowburn's going to have that Dragon Blade coming into the next fight. You don't have a sound barrier here for EnvyUs. You're going to have the res here quite soon for Chips. See Effect coming behind enemy lines. That is a Pulse Bomb. Raucus, nothing you can do about that. He's very close to Transcendence as well, so it's going to force Faze Clan to back up a little bit. Now, you got to always wonder, you know, usually we see with the Dragon Blade, right? Maybe you see Coco bring out the Primal Rage, knock players back. You have the whole hog now at your disposal as well. You can use that, knock players back, do a ton of damage as well.
If you force a Genji into reflecting during his Dragon Blade, you've done a heck of a lot of work. You've essentially cut down half of the duration of that very impactful fight-winning ultimate, purely for the purposes of the Genji to keep himself alive. That's going to be scary. Transcendence forced out already. Faze now needs to work off the back end. That was not well timed at all. Clearly, Raucus knew he had to go for it. That's the threat of this Pharah now. Faze are trying to do something with that healing ultimate. Chips goes down yet again. It's been half room to avoid Shadowburn thus far. But that's it. Transcendence is now gone. It's going to be Joe Meister coming in, get another support ultimate to this fight. Faze Clan know they need to get back in control. Double support ultimates down, and EnvyUs might just be happy to let this happen. They've got 2 support ultimates for themselves to ration out for the rest of the round.
I mean, Envy, they're going to get up to about 65% here. You see Harry Hook still on the point. It's going to be a 3-bit res coming out from Chip, so the fight definitely not over. Envy building up more percentage. Taimu trying to stay alive. He'll use the whole hog, trying to knock players back. The blade will come out from Shadowburn. The point, though, goes in favor to Faze Clan. Envy now in the next fight. You'll have a sound barrier, you have your barrage. We'll see how they plan to attack here. You know, no support ultimates are going to be online for Faze. The Raucus is actually built up quite well towards that Transcendence yet again, just using at the beginning of the last fight.
One fight.
Yeah.
One fight, and he's now at 95%. That is exceedingly quick. We can see the Faze Clan will approach the point here, just over from that left side in the back corner. Harry Hook knows now he needs to try and get the sound barrier onto as many people as possible. That's why EnvyUs want to move together as a unit and try and take control of the point. Coco's gone very deep though. It's a mission in towards the back lines. Enough, but Carpe still fell in the hands of Effect. Look at that, EnvyUs take the point without a fight. This is big. Another Transcendence forced out after Faze Clan come into the fight at a disadvantage. Again, this is not what they're looking for here. They're not getting their ducks in a row. EnvyUs didn't even have to fight for the point, and now they can sit back.
Well, you just see the damage that Seagull is putting down onto Raucus. They're trying to focus it with the defense matrix, but there's the pressure coming through the front. Raucus finally gets the better of Seagull, but you see with having a great Pharah adds to this Envy lineup.
Resurrect available for Chips. He actually uses it now for tempo. He gets Seagull back on his feet. They know that Faze are going to be desperate to try and retake control. Sound barrier used somewhat earlier in the fight, and there's a minimal amount of value that's going to be attained from that one. EnvyUs now in a position to fight back. Raucus is down in the back line. Taimu went deep for that kill, and Shadowburn is being harried all the way through to the point. The jump hit from Coco, that was a great follow-up for Effect, and he is going to be all over this point. Both DPSs are fallen to his hand. A Pulse Bomb is going to be just around a corner, and EnvyUs are cruising here to take this first map away with Effect. Pulse Bomb that takes him out, but still, guess who's up in the sky? It's Seagull, your man!
And you're going to have Taimu play the Sombra. Very interesting comp here coming out from Envy.
Early reconnaissance assignment for Coco. Just in towards the arch, just to get a bit of an idea of what Faze are bringing. Of course, this is that Zarya Reinhardt, and of course the Hanzo in the mix. What is that triple take for Faze Clan? There it is, Carpe! Death, taxes, and getting kills with scatter arrows. You know he's got what it takes. Faze Clan already have 3 kills into this fight, and Mickey's down. I don't even know if he had a chance to build up the turret. He did, but it just doesn't matter. Effect, still 1 kill to contribute to that fight. Taimu desperately trying to sprint across the point, but again, he's got scant moments of invisibility. Now he reveals himself, and again, he will be gunned down in short shrift. Faze, get it right the first time.
Yeah, you got to feel for Harry there. We've all been there before. It was Carpe, just goes right up top, lands a scatter arrow. Envy still in the fight, though. Taimu is able to go back, use a translocator, stay alive for an extended period of time. Harry switches off the 76, comes back as Lucio. It'll be Mickey switching off the Torb. He'll go over to Zarya. It'll be Effect landing a Pulse Bomb on a Spree. But Faze still in control here. A big bionic grenade comes out from Chips, gets a few members of FaZe low. But the kills still going in favor of FaZe Clan here.
Yeah, very much just a matter of due course at this stage. FaZe Clan, the first push was very, very good to take the point. Notice how quickly Carpe had switched off the Soldier 76. He had success on the Hanzo pick, so one might ask, why switch? It's because he knew he had to maintain the pressure, run back to the point with 76, and this is Effect trying to do what he can to keep things alive. He does find Spree here, obviously getting desuited, and the mini Diva actually getting picked off, but again, the EMP timing was not there, not enough people to follow up on it either.
Yeah, and you're going to see Envy make some changes yet again. So Taimu now switches off of the Sombra, go over to Widowmaker here, going up against the triple tank lineup. And then Carpe will move off of Hanzo, go to 76. So now with a lot of the changes for this Envy lineup, outside of really Chips and Coco, well, actually Coco switch off of the Brine now, that you're going to be behind on a lot of ults here. It'll be a sound barrier that comes in for FaZe Clan. They've not even needed it here. They get 2 kills, trying to advance the payload.
Yeah, how important is that as well, now that you have a Graviton Surge for the next fight available? Taimu set up here, of course. Anna and 76 are generally quite susceptible. Oh, it's a sleep dart across the map! Raucous don't give a damn! Taimu down to 9, but Spree is going to make sure that the job Raucous started is finished.
How many 6 sleep darts have we seen out of Raucous? In the last 2 days. Yeah, I can think of like 3 or 4 yesterday, especially in Hollywood.
There's too much to keep count, to be honest, man.
It's just been sick from Raucous, just on a play. FaZe Clan now, you have a great combination of ults here. You have a grab, and you have a self-destruct. Envy, you have Chip switch off to the Ano, so now he's going to be building up towards that Transcendence. You know that the sound barrier still not available here for Envy. FaZe in a great spot. It's going to be Taimu, though, taking out Carpe at the beginning. Not ideal there.
Raucous is being swaddled around the place right now, trying to deal with the fact that Coco really has it in for him. There's not much to be done there. The Fists of Fury find their target. Coco dealing with Shadowburn up on the payload there. And credit to EnvyUs, because they had a lot of ultimates in the bank. They actually only really used the Primal Rage to stop that fight. That's big, because they're going to go up against the FaZe Clan, who's been able to bank the same kind of ultimates over the course of the last couple of fights. And the Graviton Surge coming to very little avail for FaZe. Shadowburn switches now to the Genji.
Yeah, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Taimu. Knows that the Widowmaker's there in the back. It's going to just go and try and harass him as Genji. So we see Carpe still with the Tac Visor. You have both support ults now online for EnvyUs. See what FaZe Clan decides to do. It'll be Shadowburn just jumping up top.
He's expecting to get shot at by Taimu.
Yeah.
He's actually looking for him to try and reflect back towards the Widowmaker. But Taimu knows a little bit better. He's going to be the dive, though. Now, note that Shadowburn doesn't have the Dragon Blade, so it's going to be a little bit more clean in that regard. Back Fiction actually gets the Nano Boost now. He drops down onto his own backline here just to try and corral the enemy away from them, but it was a little bit too late. The boop as he hit the ground sure as heck didn't help either. Mickey's found Fact Fiction. Shadowburn was really just forced to be a spectator in that fight. And Effect deals with him very comfortably.
You did get EnvyUs to use both support ults there, though. You forced out the Transcendence, you've got the sound barrier out. FaZe Clan, what did you do? You invested your own nano boost into it. Now you switch Raucous off of the Ana anyway. So now coming in the next fight, you'll have the sound barrier to use up against the squad of EnvyUs. We'll see if they can make good use out of it. Carpe, see what he does now as he goes over to Tracer. Oh, well, you tried to play a little bit cute. We saw the first time where you said he was playing for the deflect. Goes for it again this time. It'll be Taimu landing a nice headshot there on a Shadowburn, taking him out, forcing FaZe Clan to wait a little bit.
Again, the invulnerability window of the reflected Genji is fairly predictable. You can actually count it down if you're familiar with dealing with that. And I tell you what, Taimu's used to dealing with it. Korean Genjis? No, thank you. Shadowburn, though, is cut down by Effect here, so this is 2 consecutive fights in which he's fallen very, very early on. FaZe Clan is struggling to build up momentum at this stage. Joemeister has not really had any reason to draw out this sound barrier here. If they get sort of, pushed out or staggered, he just needs to deal with that. Taimu's found 4 kills off screen, though. You give this guy a bit of room, and you know what? He's not even playing back. He's not even being passive. He's literally the most forward member of his team right now. Joemeister still hasn't used the sound barrier, though.
I mean, when? You're just kind of trapped.
Whoa! You're not going to use it now, man. That's for sure. Back to spawn. Back to the pavilion.
He's not even happy. He's just frustrated. He's like, get out of the spawn.
It's another day at the office, mate. And for him, Joemeister seems to be a paperweight.
I wish I could shoot like that.
Don't try.
I have. You've seen me try.
Our ranked adventures have been utterly fruitless.
It's been interesting. A lot of Orisa.
Stay in your lane. Dragon Blade here for Shadowburn. It's going to be really crucial. Again, backed up by a sound barrier, so we can keep harping on this, but when the trigger gets pulled, it's going to be very, very important. Timing there. Big Angry Monkey right in his face, but he's managing this rather well, to be fair. Don't be expected to go coast to coast in this particular manner again. A bit of damage. He actually waits out the most of the Primal Rage. Fact Fiction spends so much time trying to deal with just Taimu. The rest of EnvyUs are able to wipe FaZe Clan out. Again, Sound barrier is still there, but we need to see it now.
Yeah, but now you've let chips build up towards a transcendent
They lost their
carry.
window.
Yeah, they lost their window of opportunity because you had that sound barrier. There were no support ults online for EnvyUs. Now you're about even here. I mean, you have the transcendence for Envy. You still have that sound barrier for Faze Clan. Envy's going to get their own sound barrier here as well. It'll be a self-destruct from Mickey. That'll take out Raucus. No transcendence available here. It's going to be the sound barrier finally coming out here for Faze Clan.
And there's no other choice but to use a sound barrier in a suboptimal situation. You're at a man disadvantage, but this is it. 8 seconds left in the round. Tymo again, keeping a respectful distance, but very comfortable to sit back. Unfortunately, it's a shocking reception he's greeted with as FaZe manages to take him down. But still, FaZe are running low on numbers, running out of gas in the tank, as it were, and that limousine has a bit farther to travel now. Transcendence comes in, Raucus got picked up early in the last fight, and this might just shift a little bit here. FaZe have the numbers over the payload. It's approximately equidistant, the respawn distance for both teams here, but affects found Carpe, that's big.
Yeah, and it's going to be Coco coming over the top with the Primal Rage, knocking one player back. Spree trying to use the defense matrix, keeps Shadowburn up. He finally falls. You see the pressure from Effect actually going back towards the spawn of Faze Clan. It's going to be the Tankster FaZe, though, getting on the payload, just trying to stay up.
Spree can't do too much there. Mini Diva is not going to get him across the line. And what an impressive start for FaZe. Very good at playing in sync with one another. EnvyUs now already pressing forward. It's going to be the Widow straight out of the gates here for Timey. So again, FaZe Clan are going to be forced to get aggressive, to be proactive, to eliminate this very nasty long-range threat.
I love how Envy plays now. It's pretty much Taimu picks a hero and everybody else figures out a way to work around it. It'll be Coco getting into the back, taking out Carpe, force them all the way into the back cafe. Now you lose the solo DPS player you have here on Faze Clan. Gonna be very difficult to withhold here on the point.
In fact, Vixen, all he can try and do is keep the shield up to prevent Taimu from shredding the rest of his team. But there are so many threats in and under the skin of FaZe Clan. Effect, you saw, had a huge impact. Chips finds Spree towards the end there. And again, Fact Vixen, what do? You just hold
have
the
to
shield.
back up.
You're literally a monolith at this stage, a memorial to the FaZe Clan that we used to know, that used to go so aggressive and in your face. Now a change though. The Genji going to come out. They're going to move towards a point. Poison Mine dropped by Taimu. That's actually destroyed. So no extra damage for him there. But Raucus is down at the start of this fight. They need the burst healing from Ana to sustain from this push, and EnvyUs.
And now you're so worried about Taimu. He's just putting down so much free damage. Shadowburn is able to take out Effect, and now he's going to try and get to work. Taimu lands one shot, staying alive. Oh, okay, Shadowburn gets the best of him. He will fall. Envy will unlock the payload, but
you see that though? Jeez. Every time Taimu is picked off, it's a Pyrrhic victory for FaZe Clan. They get Taimu, brilliant. You can mount that on your mantelpiece as much as you like, but the rest of your team is being decimated.
Yeah. But by the time they deal with Taimu, everybody else is dead. So there's no even point. So
you said it in like far less words than me, so I applaud that. That's basically what's going on.
Yeah, I broke down what you were trying to say. So the analyst here, as Carpe, he'll switch over to the Widowmaker. So, you know, one way we see it in a lot of our ranked games. How do you counter Widowmaker? Only with another Widowmaker. So Carpe try and get the best of Taimu here. Lands a shot on Effect. Effect forced to back down. That's going to be the Transcendence here. Out of chips, trying to keep everybody up as they dive in deep. It'll be Coco using the Primal Rage, taking out 2. Envy has control at the early outset of this fight.
You see that? EnvyUs noted FaZe Clan were kind of out of step. They were sort of back towards the spore behind the building, so they force a fight with Transcendence. And it works, which is actually not often the case. It's usually far better employed as a reactionary ultimate there, just to try and catch the enemy off guard and make them realize perhaps they didn't have the tools to win the fight that they thought they did. This Pulse Bomb could be big. FaZe Clan are going to initiate with their own sound barrier here. Pulse Bomb dropped in by Effect. That takes Spree very low, but the sound barrier keeps him in his suit for now.
Yeah, you use the Nano Boost on a Fact Fiction to keep him up. You're going to get the Blade here in Shadowburn in just a few seconds. Earns it. Does he need it? Carpe picks up 2. Shadowburn gets out of harm's way here. It's Carpe on the payload, trying to make something happen as the Widowmaker. It's a beautiful play by Joe Meister, able to take out Effect there, but Mickey still doing work here for Envy.
Yeah, this is not looking good at all. Raucus at least gets Mickey out of the suit. You can see Spree knows he needs to gravitate towards the payload. With Mickey falling and Chips just kind of standing there, EnvyUs are actually going to have to reset and go for another fight. This is a treacherous part of the map as an attacking team to get wiped because it's so far from your spawn. And to add to that, FaZe Clan have a good slew of ultimates to employ in the next engagement.
Yeah, you're going to have Primal Rage stay alive on the point, Shadowburn with the Dragon Blade, Carpe and with the Infrasight on the Widowmaker. EnvyUs makes some changes. They switch Taimu off of the Widow finally. They move him over to 76, just trying to get some more constant damage. But still, a decent amount of time left here. It'll actually be Joe Meister opening things up, taking out Taimu. So just buying FaZe Clan some more time it's kind of big because, I mean, Joe Meister 73% towards that sound barrier. You give him a little bit more time, you may end up in this next fight. By the time it really kicks off, you know, close to both support ults here for Faze.
Well, Fact Fiction, this it's not good at all. They get the first pick off. He goes a little bit too deep again, trying to stagger out on EnvyUs that was still trying to take positions and set up. The question is, EnvyUs probably realized they want to try and use his man advantage to force ultimates, not necessarily just to win the fight. So with Harry Hook now, as he pushes towards the payload again, just trying to make sure he's, you know, placed between his teammates properly. But Joe Meister goes down. He was close to a sound barrier. Raucus now tried for a Transcendence, but he's taken no. Sorry, it was the Nano Boots on the Ana. Doesn't seem to have amounted to too much though. Shadowburn gets one kill on towards Harry Hook, and now they're over the payload. This is looking dangerous, looking real scary for Faze Clan. Spree heads for the skies, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to be cut down as he does eject from the mech. Timing on the Soldier 76, throw back to the Apex season, and it's looking all too easy for Team EnvyUs. The boys in blue are looking strong, and Faze are looking black and blue.
So, pretty standard comp here coming out of Faze Clan.
This is actually quite curious because Chips now, on this Mercy pick, has much less safety than as if he were pocketing a Pharah, for example. For him to gain altitude, he can't really just use Guardian Angel to a, you know, an airborne ally to do so, unless Timey sort of, you know, pops off literally up into the air. We'll see if that's going to be the case, but Timey's in a great position to do a heck of a lot of damage. Fact Fiction is forced to drop his bubble really short of the point. So it's going to be a slow sequential approach from Faze to try and take ground bit by bit.
Well, you can also use the Mercy to damage boost the Junkrat, right? Do even more damage. You see Taimu with 2 kills there. In the feed, he takes out Joe Meister, takes out Carpe as a mine to the face of Joe Meister. Saw the assist coming in from Chip, so you assume the damage boost is there. So see, that's how they most likely use the Mercy in this type of composition, and then also obviously for the heals.
It was a very tentative foray for Faze Clan as well. They probably wanted to get an idea of positioning, what EnvyUs were going to be running. Obviously, it's rather self-evident if the enemy's running a Junkrat. You just kind of look for the shrapnel flying around the map. But now they kind of know what they're dealing with. So the question is, how does Fact Fiction choose to engage, or where, for that matter, does he choose to engage? Mickey, a frontliner here, and Coco also just going to try and get up in the air a little bit more, but Shadowburn pressuring down on him. He's easily picked off, and the rest of EnvyUs weren't there to collapse. So that was an interesting response from the boys in blue to the fact that their tank was playing quite far forward.
Yeah, you don't know why Coco's all the way out in that position. It'll be the tempo res coming in, Chips bringing Coco back. It'll be Taimu using the tire. Doesn't get anything with it. He'll take out Raucus, though. As Envy stays in the fight, that's a big res coming in from Chips, bringing Coco back.
Yeah, I mean, remember, Chips and Taimu are inextricably linked in terms of their ultimate generation by the damage that Taimu does, right? So obviously Chips benefits more the more Taimu does, and it follows so on and so forth. So having a resurrect so early in this is unbelievable, and you can see that Chips was more than happy just to use it just to keep his team at full strength and get Coco back up on his feet. So Faze Clan have to find another approach here.
Yeah, with the small chokes, I mean, Taimu is going to get damage. It's just a matter of when and where. So, you know, you see Chips just committing, using the damage boost. It'll be the Raucus using Transcendence here, trying to lead the way, just get Faze close to the point.
Again, damage boosted. I mean, this is pretty BM, if I'm honest with you here. Taimu has an easy time of it just to sit up. Spree definitely sidestepped the trap that was placed down to try and catch it, but Effect now being forced back into the room. The healing from Chips, though, is there. He's getting more ultimate percentage. He's at 75%. That's nice from Spree, though. That's going to thin out the numbers for EnvyUs on this point. This is probably going to provoke them just to pull back now and think about setting up for that second point defense. Chips didn't quite get his resurrect when he needed it to keep EnvyUs running in the fight.
Yeah, they used the Transcendence to get in, and then you saw it from Taimu's POV. A lot of pressure being put out top by Shadowburn and Spree onto Effect. He was up there on the high ground with the 76. He switches off the 76. He'll go over to Tracer here. As Faze Clan, they take point A. They unlock point B here. Chip's also making the change. He'll go off of Mercy. He'll go over and play the Sombra for Envy.
Again, that middle health pack in the moat, as I like to call it, or that little lower ground area is often quite heavily contested, especially for an attacking team that wants to keep themselves sustained coming forward. So it's a pretty prime location to hack. It's also going to be frequently used. Losing Effect at this stage of the game is not very good at all. Whoa, Faze Clan, they've made an opening here. 2 quick kills, the Transcendence to follow up, just to give them a bit more security coming forward. Shadowburn also had the Dragonblade ready to go, but he may not even need it here. That EMP was not required.
Yeah, and Harry is forced to use the sound barrier. Only connects to 2 players there. It's going to be the Riptire from Taimu, though. May spell disaster here for Faze Clan. Takes out Shadowburn, not going to have the blade in the fight. The self-destruct comes down. Spree getting back in his mech. See, Faze Clan, they're going to be forced to back up. It's a big Riptire there coming out from Taimu.
And a big investment from Faze Clan as well in trying to start that fight. You saw the Transcendence followed in. Now, Raucus wants to make a switch up here. Going for the Ana, he does realize that these Junkrat grenades are going to chunk his team down very quickly. Faze have no choice but to follow one of 3, you know, ingress points to get to the temple itself. They are going to take AoE damage from Taimu. They are going to have to remediate that rapidly with a Bionic Grenade.
Yeah, but now you're going to put a lot of pressure on Joemeister because your only support ult in terms of sustain is going to be the sound barrier. The other team has the EMP on the other side, so we'll see. When he decides to use that sound barrier, you're going to have to keep forcing this EMP out time and time again. We see just having that threat of the EMP allows your team to build up so many ultimates. There goes Joemeister at the hands of Effect with a pulse bomb there. That close quarters part of the map as see Spree going to be forced to back up here, and it's going to be Carpe using the pulse bomb there onto Effect, but you have to back out anyway. It doesn't really do much.
It's actually very rare to see that even occur. It remains to be seen for us whether that was actually stuck, but normally you never target a Tracer with a pulse bomb because, you know, okay, if he's got recall, this is literally a wasted ultimate. This is going to phase out of existence, but managed to get him with that one, so that's nice. I also like Raucus to switch just to double back on that point. Switch off the Zenyatta, make yourself less susceptible to Sombra popping down and you know, tearing your shields off.
Oh, insta-killing you, pretty much. Just taking
HP ain't a lot.
So we'll see Carpe. What him and Faze Clan decide to do here on offense. That'll be the Primal Rage coming out from Coco. Just knocking players around. He gets put to sleep here by Raucus, and now Raucus going to get close to a Nano Boost. Maybe you see a Nano Blade combination here. Now,
that will be good. Shadowban, we've seen him use that to break open fights in the past, and EnvyUs has been tough nuts to crack thus far. That might be just what the Doctor ordered. Carpe, just a bit of poke damage for the time being. Bionic Grenade, very well used there by Raucus. He's had a huge contribution in the last few moments, and you better believe it, man, it is going to be the Nano Bait for Shadowburn. He only finds Harry Hook, though, in the process, and Spree gets himself desuited. Self-destruct on the lower levels, and Taimu comes in again. It's a two-man Riptire. Mickey to find Shadowburn. Another big investment of ultimates from both sides, but it's Faze Clan with nothing to show.
Taimu again with a Riptire. Chips actually used the EMP there. He didn't connect with anybody. Everybody's still able to hold on to these shields, so Joemeister does a nice job staying out of harm's way. Does not stay out of harm's way from the Riptire, though. Takes out Joemeister and Spree. That's where the push ends for Faze Clan. They do get a lot of ults out from the side of EnvyUs. You see Envy has absolutely nothing coming into this next fight. Faze will have a self-destruct to use both of your support ults, though. So you don't really have much on their side either.
Again, it's the raw stopping power of EnvyUs that continues to impress me. Faze Clan were on a pretty good trajectory, actually, to have a quick time on this map. Their first attempt at taking this point was actually very close. But someone like Taimu, he can, you know, cut you from 6 to 4 players in the blink of an eye. That's always going to be very, very hard to either predict and also to work around. Chips getting close to yet another EMP. One of the first proponents of Sombra in the West, by the way, and showed us some very, very good play, especially over in Apex for EnvyUs. He's got an EMP now. He's hoping Faze are going to group up.
With only a minute and 30 to go, Faze needs to make a play. They take out 2. Chips trying to stay alive on the point. Gonna have to translocate back out here. The point will still be contested here by Mickey and Coco. Coco does have the Primal Rage. There's the EMP. Connects with a few players from Faze Clan. Faze now forced to back out.
Yeah, and that was well done by Chips. You know, from our view, it actually looked like the fight was very much in the balance, but after having just lost Mickey's mech, it was good timing for Chips there, just to try and tip the balance in their favor. Okay,
so now here's Faze's probably best attempt here. Coming towards the end of the game, you'll have a Dragon Blade, you'll have Nano Boost, you have Sound Barrier. You just saw the EMP come out from Chips. Harry Hook does not have the Sound Barrier. It's still that Riptire, though, for Envy. That's really been what's kind of kept them alive, as Faze has gotten some really good attempts on the point. Here comes the Sound Barrier from Joemeister. It's a Pulse Bomb from Effect, doesn't get anything. Oh, that's a lot of pressure being put on the Taimu here from Back Fiction. It's going to force it back up to the spawn, regen some health.
Very worthwhile trade there. Primal Rage for Riptire. That's nicely done by Back Fiction to force it out, and Shadowman's going to come straight through. Taimu is cut down, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Effect also was going to fall next to Shadowburn, coming in with it. 4 kills, that's a big one, no doubt about it. You definitely know you can invest in that player when push comes to shove. Faze Clan control the point now, well and truly. Mickey is also cut down, briefly up, wrexing his mech. And you can see Taimu's trying to work in from the left off screen. A quick jump out here from Coco, realizes he's bit off a little bit more than he can chew. It's the final seconds of regulation time. And Chips is trying to huddle together for Taimu for warmth or something other than that. But it isn't going to matter. It's not going to do the job. Again, Chips enters the point. It's going to be a translocator thrown directly up in the air. But he has no EMP to follow it up. Point taken. Faze, get it done.
Running Mickey on the Diva. Okay, I was going to say, you would not have Mickey on Ryan and Coco on Winston. That would be quite odd.
Still getting trolled by EnvyUs, Matt. What's going on?
Well, I mean, who knows what they're going to run, right? At any moment, we've seen just different setups from them as Now I think the thing you have to worry about is, like, let's say they push up the middle, which you see them do. It opens up a ton of space for Taimu.
This is so uncharacteristic as well. You see Taimu's not afraid at all to move right up in. Now, Faze won't be ready for this particular angle. Taimu, astutely, always watching his back. But in fact, Fiction wouldn't be set up there if he knew there was a Widow present. So now, this position is quite compromising, but Faze finds the pick. That's all they need to do. If they can commit just the one player, just the one passage to play in, that's worthwhile. But again, this is what happens. EnvyUs able to fight back and make this fight convincing.
Yeah, you lose some players on the point. Effect here. He's getting hacked, uses the recoil. Now he's just trying to stay alive. He finally gets hacked, takes out Shadowburn. See if the reinforcements come through for Envy. So, chips on the Sombra, trying to get control of that health pack. You know, you maybe deny Raucus some access, deny him some build towards that EMP.
Right, so flat out, they obviously need to spread as much as possible. And bear in mind, we don't make it. Oh, there's Raucus. He goes down with an EMP as well. You cannot allow that to happen. I don't know how Raucus allowed himself to be seen by the Widow. That's a big shift in momentum now in this particular fight. Harry drops the point. Time eventually goes down. So again, FaZe are responding at least to that big threat. But still, Envy now are on the point. They've gained ground. Now they're pressuring down FaZe.
Well, you die with the EMP. You also, because it just, obviously you're going to go back to the spawn. It takes a while to get back. You're going to allow Chips to gain some access towards these health packs. You're maybe even force a switch off here as the effect takes out Shadowburn. Looks like Envy will take point A. They're going to build up some ultimates as well. You'll have the Primal Rage. You'll have the Self-Destruct. Be effect with a Pulse Bomb as well. Raucus, you're going to stay on this. The EMP, so good for point B. Obviously, the close quarters chokes that you have to move through can connect with a lot of players.
But I love that we have a Sombra mirror now. So both these two teams are going to be fighting over a number of different health packs. And Chips has already made his way forward. They're on the point. They might even get one tick. So FaZe are now going to be pulled back, maybe even split up. Carpe, the headshot from Chips. He picks them off. That might be the opening day. We're looking for is a Self-Destruct and a Primal Rage for EnvyUs. In fact, Fiction hastily tries to even the ledger, but Taimu's there. He's got a lot of ground. Look how much space they've created for this Widowmaker. No one on FaZe can deal with him right now. Chips, Taimu with yet another one. EnvyUs have taken Faze Clan to task. It is the Jenga tower. They're falling apart, not brick by brick, but the whole damn thing at once.
And there's going to be the EMP that comes in from Chips. You're not going to be able to use those ults, so no Primal Rage coming through. No Self-Destructs from Spree just yet. Is Envy. Taimu's going to get pressured.
Nice.
That was nice there from Carpe. See, a switch is going to be effect going over to the Reaper, trying to combat that Sombra play. Takes out Carpe. It'll be Coco still on the point, trying to keep this alive for Envy.
Yeah, the pressure being applied. Envy haven't actually gained that much of capture percent in the last few moments. And it definitely looked like it was going to be a fight heavily slanted in EnvyUs' favor, but it wasn't enough of a distinct advantage. If you want to take this point, given how close the defenders spawn, it has to be very convincing. It has to be like a clean wipe, which is why we see so many teams bank up ultimates, which also might explain why we're seeing effect here. Not only is an EMP or a hack not so effective against Reaper, he's also very, very good at mass destruction.
And, but Envy, they thought they had a great chance of taking that. They used a ton of ultimates. FaZe Clan Shadowburn specifically holds on to the blade. You hold on to Primal Rage, you're able to build up your own sound barrier in the EMP. There comes the EMP from Raucus. Chip switches off of the Sombra, goes over to Ana as Taimu takes out Joe Meister, but still you're forced to back up. Shadowburn now pulls the blade out, trying to swing the fight back in FaZe's favor.
So this is EnvyUs. They're happy with this. They're forcing ultimates out from FaZe Clan. FaZe don't want this to happen. They actually want to be able to sit back and just have 6 and then ration them and drip feed ultimates into the fight and allow them to maintain control at this point. But because EnvyUs already have that one tick on the point, and if they get a pick to start the fight off, this is why Widow's so good at provoking maybe, premature or slightly frivolous defensive ult usage on a team that's already under pressure. EnvyUs really can sort of decide where FaZe Clan goes with this now. It's kind of up to them to dictate the flow of the game.
Yeah, and the big thing here for Envy is if they can get a pick and then move on to the point. Now give Taimu that space on the Widow. It forces FaZe Clan to play in these odd sight lines. They can't really go out into the middle of the point to fight because it's going to be so much free damage Taimu's going to be able to put down.
Coco now back at the point. Primal Rage available for him, and that's going to be a sound barrier used here for FaZe Clan. It's going to try and keep them topped up for the rest of this fight, and it seems to have done the job. Again, EnvyUs, they wanted this. They want to draw these ultimates out. Now there's no EMP. Now there's no sound barrier.
You did use your own sound barrier and a nano boost there for Envy, though.
That is true.
You do come into the next fight, though. Primal Rage, Death Blossom, and Self-Destruct. We'll see how they make those ults work in their favor. We can get a replay here. Here's going to be the EMP that comes in from Raucus. Negates the effects of the sound barrier as Envy pushed in. using that Lucio ult as now it'll be Envy diving right to the point.
They don't really mess about, do they? Going straight in. The problem is Tips has been separated from the rest of his team, but Harry Hook here, ever a brother in arms, is defending that Ana. And all that investment, Faze Clan has already lost Carpe in the fight. It was the Death Blossom that picked up the Tracer, trying to sneak around the edges of the fight. Reaper forces you to stand and deliver, and that's exactly where he excels in the fight. Chips now trying to maintain a little bit of a health pool here. EMP was used there by Raw, because that was awfully quickly generated.
Yeah, I mean, now if Envy loses this fight, you look, they have a sound barrier coming into the next one. This is where they could use that ult, just kind of go over that wall, lead the way with Reaper, use him as almost like a battering ram, just kind of mow him down through the tanks here.
Oh dear, that's gonna hurt the morning Raucous.
Why do they keep going after him like that?
Hubris?
Have they not figured
Folly?
it out yet?
The folly of man? I don't know.
It'll be a pick there from Taimu. You'll see Raucous get back into the equation though here. Joe Meister getting close towards his sound barrier as well. So you see Chips land a bionic grenade there as Envy now trying to get their way towards the point. They catch Carpe here at the beginning. They're going to put Spree to sleep, and now it's going to be the Blade, though, that comes out from Shadowburn, may save him.
Yeah, got a lot of room to do damage there, as well as a hacked health pack, though, to keep Shadowburn nice and topped up. Chips kind of got caught again. Sort of, he thought he could just get free damage into the back of Spree and didn't realize that Shadowburn was bearing down upon him on a rate of knots. So this is interesting though. Mickey's find another kill. He's going to get decent now, but a self-destruct is going to force movement off the point. This is going to allow Effect to set up and do a bit of breakdancing on the point. Nicely done. And guess what? Taimu, ever in the periphery, ever the aggressor, finds yet another kill. And Effect was so close, but that's a clever bubble thrown down by Fact Fiction. But Taimu is still in control. He's at the helm right now. And every time someone from Faze peeks out, they're going to be in trouble. It's 2 ticks looking for that third one. Envy is still with a minute and a half in the bank, and Faze are scrabbling to try and get on this point.
Yeah, Chips is going to use the nano boost onto Coco. Raucous was forced to use his EMP a little bit earlier. Joe Meister then had to come in, use his sound barrier, I believe only connected with himself, as Envy just picking up the kills here, still on the point, Mitch. They will take it with a minute and 11 in the time bank. Yeah, I mean, you trade 1 for 1, like you're saying, with the offensive team spawning relatively closer here on Anubis. Make a play happen as Envy dives in first. Carpe will take out Chips, but just trying to get some bodies on the point. Will be 2 kills. Both supports dropping here for EnvyUs. Taimu trying to connect with some kills here. The point still being capped. Faze has to be very careful here as Envy steps off it for a second. All they need is 1 tick.
Yeah, and this is good. EnvyUs are short on time, so Faze do not want to kill Mickey at all. They're better off actually forcing him to try and charge up his mech with the Bunny Blaster than sending him back to spawn and having him return. That's nicely done. Spree there. He's going to get D-Mech. That might be big. That time he's got a bit of room to breathe now. Not only is Spree down in general, but there's no defense matrix to mitigate the damage from long range, and that's where it's Shadowburn's turn to come in, and he's done admirably there. Carpe and Shadowburn, the DPS duo for Faze, have whittled EnvyUs down. And now it's 15 seconds. 1 more push for EnvyUs to take this to the last map.
Yeah, EnvyUs just gonna have to jump onto the point here, try and send this one into overtime. You see Raucous just trying to get behind enemy lines. They're gonna have to send Coco in over the top. Carpe getting very close towards a pulse bomb.
Overtime now. Shadowburn's actually being corralled for the most part by Harry Hook off towards the side. Joe Meister goes down. So Chips has found that pick, though. It's still a 2-for-1 trade. And no, Faze Clan are looking pretty good. They're holding in the heat admirably. And so far, it's just going to be Effect now to try and do all the work. He actually finds one. He's going to be Shadowburn falling down. Is this going to turn around? Surely not. Discord Orb's going to be placed on Fact Fiction here. He's got the Primal Rage. But EnvyUs, they spawn closer. They've got a man advantage. We're in overtime. It doesn't seem to matter. Faze Clan, where are you at? They disappeared. Rock is trying to keep it alive. He manages to get down towards the point and Chips is taken down. Coco very rapidly going to get back on. A sound barrier hastily employed by Joe Meister now. 2 players on the point. Sound barrier now expiring. Mickey staying alive. Taimu has all the freedom to do damage from that bridge up on the high ground. Raucous is forced to translocate out. Carpe's got to get the heck out of there. It may be a struggle here for Shadowburn, who's so low. The testing gun's going to find him. It's still overtime. It's done. EnvyUs get there. That is frightening. On any of the,
I think it's more for the offensive side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's map by map, of course, not side by side. God help in that case. Rawhide, let's go! 3 minutes, 52 seconds. Faze Clan need to get to that first checkpoint. Look, Carpe here on the Widowmaker. Seagull going to make it hard for him to connect. And honestly, EnvyUs' DPSs are going to be quite sneaky and hard for Carpe to dig out of their defensive positions.
Yeah, Taimu is going to be playing the Sombra here. Just keeps going behind enemy lines, putting a ton of damage down, and just translocating back, just trying to build towards that EMP. Then you're worried about Taimu on the Sombra, Effects there on the Tracer. It's Carpe just trying to find something here. You saw him there on the payload for a second, just trying to line up some shots here. He's going to keep getting dove back further and further here by Coco.
Carpe again. There's a respectful distance that needs to be given. Chips is able to pick off Shadowburn here as well, who was probably just trying to find a target that he could eliminate quickly. Unfortunately, that's not really the case here. EnvyUs have sort of, collapsed on themselves, and they've got this very protected structure. Coco comes forward there. We saw that EMP come out already from Taimu, and you can see Faze only half-heartedly attempting to fight, but with Spree getting desuited here, they're still going to try and work with this payload.
So Taimu had used the EMP. He's going to build up towards another one here. It's not really, I mean, you kind of use Sombra as a secondary support, but this time they'll play Sombra as a DPS, because you keep the Zenyatta, you keep the Lucio in the mix as Backfiction, just trying to put a lot of pressure on the back line there. He's going to be able to take out Taimu.
Really nicely done by Backfiction there as well. He has to give his life up for that one, and that's the problem. Every time we see Backfiction achieve these pickoffs, it's always traded out in a negative way. It's always EnvyUs getting more than what Faze were able to do. Carpe struggling to have an impact in this fight. Again, that hairpin turn is obscuring much of his line of sight. But that disengage from EnvyUs was so nice. You see they backed up right around behind Big L's. They were ready to deal with the push, and that's why, in fact, Fishing got burst down so fast. They're just covering each other's backs very well.
He also gets burst down so quick because Spree does not even have his mech back, so he's not able to just kind of fly in there, use the defense matrix, kind of dive in with his Winston. So Backfiction gives up his life there, gets one kill. And they get back, kind of reset here, as now we'll see another attack coming in from Faze Clan as Carpe switches off the Widowmaker, go over the Tracer, and, well, Effect instantly takes him down.
They got vaporized. That's nasty. You can see the Backfiction knows he has to go now, trying to back away. Effect is actually harassing now Raucus, has to be careful. The EMP used, perhaps it was just in case Effect would get caught, but now EnvyUs want to snowball this fight further in their advantage. Effect does commit the pulse bomb. He and Taimu combining for 3 kills in total. And Faze Clan, again, told to sit in the corner and wait their turn.
Now for Faze Clan, you have both support ults here, you have your Blade. Envy, though, they have both support ults as well, so I guess this is kind of the benefit of playing Sombra as more of a DPS as opposed to a support, right? You keep your Transcendence, you keep your Sound Barrier, you also earn the benefits of having the EMP at your disposal to stop a Sound Barrier that comes in. It'll be the Sound Barrier from Joe Meister. Interesting, doesn't connect with Shadowburn, so not going to engage with that Blade and Sound Barrier combo.
And Transcendence is going to be forced here, so that's nicely done by Backfiction to sort of draw that now out of Chips. He had no other choice but to go for it. Looks like Raucus actually went for the same kind of move. Yep, double Transcendence committed over the fight, and that's Effect to fall down. Self-destruct finds Carpe, both Tracers. These teams are so neck and neck. The trades are literally 1 for 1, but now again, EnvyUs start to exercise a bit more dominance over the fight. Taimu backing on away. EnvyUs know they've done enough here to keep Faze Clan at bay for the most part. Faze need to get aggressive. 43 seconds is not a lot of time to work with at all.
Yeah, Spree will use the self-destruct to get a mech back here. It's Coco backs down a little bit. Effect here working up towards a pulse bomb. Taimu working towards another EMP. Chips actually goes back to the spawn, off the spawn. He switches over to the 76. They're going for it here. Effect thought about the pulse bomb there. There's going to be the EMP coming out from Taimu.
That's devastating everyone. It's like the Y2K bug all over again, except actually existing. Back up on the payload there. The pulse bomb connects with Backfiction. That's his second consecutive successful pick-off with the use of that ultimate. And Faze Clan got nothing. They got nothing. There's 10 seconds left here, and they've hardly made progress. They're going to be so staggered they can barely get to the payload. They're forced into stall already. Shadowburn has a Dragon Blade, but it don't matter how sharp it is, and there's nothing to slice. Backfiction desperately throws himself at the payload. He's going to be forced to back away. He's actually kept alive. A bit of an error there from EnvyUs not to get the extra bit of damage across, but now they're going to stagger in 1 by 1. Joe Meister pushed off. Overtime ticking down. Faze have got to go. Dragon Blade coming through. Sound Barrier for Shadowburn. What's going on inside Big L's? Who knows? We'll see what comes out the other end, though. Raucus drops. It's a pulse bomb there. Again, the trade. Yet another EMP. This is ridiculous. Taimu getting another one down, but it might not be enough. It's not backed up with a lot of damage here, and Faze might make some progress towards his first checkpoint.
Yeah, Harry dies before he can earn the Sound Barrier. It'll be the self-destruct coming out. Not going to get anything with it for Seagull as Faze Clan still on the payload. Seagull trying to stay alive here. It'll be Spree with a self-destruct of his own. Just throws into the sky. Here comes the Sound Barrier from Envy.
Surely not.
Effect takes out Shadowburn. Can Envy switch the fight in their favor?
Again, the stall from the 2 tanks was so good for EnvyUs. They're back onto the payload, but Effect falls far earlier than he should in that fight. Carpe now, like Carpe Victoria. He knows he has a goal, a victory to seize perhaps, and Faze Clan managed to get the damage across the line. EnvyUs don't trickle in as well as they could have. The payload gets to that first checkpoint. But take note. Take note. 2 minutes, 15 seconds for one of the longest stretches on this particular map. Faze Clan have bought themselves a reprieve, a stay of execution, as you will, Matt, but there's much more to be done.
Oh, that got dangerous there. I thought when Effect and Seagull did a fantastic job of staying alive on the payload. Uses self-destruct inside Big Earls, gets back in the mech, stays alive long enough. Envy, though, they invest a Sound Barrier into the fight. They don't take it. Shadowburn here, just trying to be sneaky behind enemy lines. Sees a bunch of the players from Envy around the corner, gets the call. The payload advancing down here. So around the corner is Faze Clan. They have their own sound barrier. They're going to get close to a Transcendence here. Finds Chips in the corner alone. This should be a kill. Shadowbird's able to get with relative ease.
Now, Shadowbird more than happy to dispense with the pleasantries and get right down to the dirty work. An important pick-off, and they're playing very passively and very defensively. Snowball this kind of thing. They build up double support ultimates. EnvyUs, look, if the winds blow in their favor, they'll actually have 2 support ultimates to match that, so it might be a huge fight in front of this next door. But Faze have so much to work with here. EnvyUs want to put a stop now, but they might just not be able to.
Yeah, Shadowbird's going to have a Blade. You're going to have both support ults. Primal Rage as well for Faze Clan. A lot of good ultimates to use here. Oh! Knows exactly where the translocator is placed. As soon as he sees Taimu pops up, a dash right through him. You lose the EMP potentially at the beginning, and you're building up towards the EMP as Shadowbird still on the payload here. Doing some work as Genji. Going to go a little bit higher off the wall run. You did use your own Transcendence. Just keeps darting up here, maybe trying to force out the Transcendence on the side of Envy, right? A lot of teams, you see Shadowburn dart into the sky. You think he's going to use that Dragon Blade. Maybe you can get Chips to invest that Trans.
Now, like a Shadowburn self-preservation instinct coming to the fore. They're opting not to go for the Dragon Blade as he often does. He likes to save it for a rainy day. Again, pressure to Chips. He's forced to use a Transcendence really quite early here, but at least EnvyUs can now get themselves on towards the payload. Self-destruct. Seagull is chunked down quite heavily as a result. Harry Hook on the high ground. Guess what? Shadowburn's found a juicy target, but he's evaded him somehow. For a moment, at least, Harry Hook managed to get away from his pursuer. But Shadowburn will not be denied.
That's exactly what we were talking about. You know, when Shadowburn darts up into the sky right above, you know, that like little catwalk, that's when Chips immediately uses the Transcendence, assumes the blade's going to come down, just going to kind of swipe on through. Shadowburn.
Oh, there it is again!
You know, when we spoke to McGravy, he was saying how good Carpe and Shadowburn are, like baiting tracers in and setting them up for those like insta-kills. You see it right there, but Shadowburn forces the Transcendence out from Chips, then comes back, knows there's no sound barrier, knows there's no Transcendence, uses the blade there, gets good use of it.
All right, it's the Seagull switch over towards the Junkrat here. This is very interesting. We'll see if he can control this space effectively, because Chips is being pressured yet again. He goes down, Carpe is all over him like moss on a rock, and he really just has to accept the fact. In fact, dashing back. Now the Faze boys starting to get a little bit of fire in their bellies. This is what we've been waiting to see. EnvyUs have nullified them for the most part throughout this series, but this is where you get yourself back in the game. Pulse bomb onto the wall, doesn't connect. Carpe forced to back out now. Needs to deal with the rest of EnvyUs, triggering out onto the point.
Envy with no support ults. Faze is going to have both. They're going to have the Transcendence, they're going to have sound barrier here. Taimu switches off the Sombra, he'll go over to 76, just trying to add a lot more damage to the equation. Coco does fall here on the Reinhardt, so that's going to be your solo tank, not going to have the shield to deal with any of the damage that Faze is laying down.
Faze now, this is making it look very comfortable for them. Transcendence in for Raucus over the fight. Seagull taken down by Spree, and Harry Hook, you can see him trying to leap high above the payload in the stall. Envy has been very good at stalling fights out. Coco, Reinhardt does not work too well here, especially when Carpe is running rampant as he is. Discord Org is going to make a short work of effect. Faze Clan, welcome to the building.
Looks like they're going to go with Chips solo healing on Mercy. Harry will play the 76, and you'll have Seagull take up the responsibilities of playing Junkrat.
Okay, so timing Roadhog here again, a lot of pressure on towards this D.Va. The earlier they can pick off Spree, the much more effective someone like Seagull's going to be able to be, especially if Faze make the mistake of trying to fight around big L's. They're going to be highly susceptible to a lot of damage being spread out. Time to dust off the hubris, the last vestiges of it for EnvyUs now, and get serious. Payload will sail forward. Harry Hook on that 76, which is something that we've known this team to be able to do. Is very effective. Of course, his aim is, famed around the world, actually. Been quite effective now. You can see Shadowburn dropping down a half. Having to back out, a Carpe going down here. This is pretty dangerous stuff now. With a Roadhog, you can really snowball the fight if you get a man advantage.
You see the damage Seagull putting in over the top. They'll lose Spree as well. So you lose Carpe, you lose Spree. You earn yourself the EMP, but you gotta wait. You can't use it right away. You gotta wait till everybody comes back off the spawn, then maybe get the translocator over the top of the payload. Use the EMP. You see Seagull throwing a lot of just grenades down into these close chokes. Gonna put down a ton of damage as Taimu trying to stay out of the equation, right? If he gets hit with the EMP, can't use the hook, can't heal himself, gets connected with it though.
Oh, Raucus out, that's gonna hurt. He gets the EMP off, but Taimu was hoping to defend his supports actually, just to use the hook for some kind of peel. Finds Sturmeister with a right click now. That's gonna be tough, especially with the problem being exacerbated with 2 players resurrected. Coco in effect coming up for EnvyUs now, and they look hot to trot and tough to stop. So one D.Va inside big L's, and that was Spree. You know where you want to be caught out. It's the first checkpoint for EnvyUs, and now they're looking shades better than Faze. 5 minutes on the clock.
The EMP comes through, they fight on the point, they get Chips to come through, resurrect 2 players, they take the fight with relative ease. Envy now, you have your Earth Shatter, you have your Tac Visor, and what do you really have to block the Earth Shatter with? I mean, you just have Fact Fiction's Winston Bubble, nothing else. In line of Coco potentially knocking down a few members here as Effect has used his Pulse Bomb, trying to pick up a kill early.
Yeah, Coco wants to catch one or both supports here from Faze Clan. You're going up against a Genji Tracer, so... Ooh, that's a bit nasty. Shadowburn again, combining nicely with Carpe to deal with Effect. Again, Effect has found himself on the receiving end of that combination a couple times already in this matchup.
See, Envy being back down here. Coco with the Rhine Shield. You have Taimu. So another interesting point, right? You're playing the Roadhog into this Diva and Winston combination. Roadhog, excellent against both of those heroes. Oh, it'll be the Riptire from Seagull, taking out Shadowburn. Shadowburn had used his Dragon Blade as now Envy has a little bit of a spawner's advantage here. You may be able to move closer towards the payload. Can't really advance it a ton, but maybe create a little bit more space for yourself with some players coming off spawn.
Faze are happy to spend 1 to 2 fights fighting so far forward there. Even though if they get taken down, they've got a couple more opportunities to try and reinforce in setup. So, good opening here. Worth bearing in mind that targets such as Seagull and Chips are really vulnerable, especially to any sort of dive. So Faze Clan actually have a decent matchup in that regard, as long as they respect the power of the hook and don't get caught in a trap. Yeah, okay, I'm triggered too, don't worry. Carpe getting caught up in that one, but Seagull can't find a kill. The bubble was there to protect him. Fact Fiction doing his job and doing it well. That's going to be double the pulse bomb.
You gotta wonder if we see Envy switch off of this comp. The dive from Faze being very aggressive. Shadowburn literally has no HP. Somehow, he's still able to stay alive. Carpe takes out Taimu. Could not be any weaker there.
I wonder if he switches after that. I wonder if our good friend Taimu's been channeling the positive mental attitude. Yeah, he's going to stand at Roadhog here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him switch off in frustration there, but he knows the role he's trying to achieve with this particular Roadhog pick. And with Whole Hog just around the corner, it's going to be very, very good to turn Faze back to where they came from. But there it is, Harry drops already. Envy getting picked off before the fight even starts. Shadowburn reflects Seagull's mind. What the heck? 2 kills for that.
I mean, Envy may want to change, but you'd be giving up a ton of ults. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to take, lose the tack visor that you've built up towards the Whole Hog as well. Then let's say you want to switch Chips off of the Mercy, you're going to lose the res. Going to kind of reset 3 ultimates here with 2 minutes and 30 to go. As you've allowed Faze Clan, by the way, they haven't had to use any support ults here to get anything done, really, any ults at all.
First picks greater than ult advantage. That's the most important thing to keep an eye on here. Joe Master and Carpe with the half health up. Oh, that's a vertical hook. Nicely done. Fact Fiction caught before his feet even touched the ground. Taimu's able to sustain there through the nuclear fallout of the self-destruct, and Envy come in with a 2-man advantage. Joe Master's going to be forced to use a sound barrier here if he's not careful, but he's already his team. He's taken down with his ultimate. Envy are making some progress, and Faze are banking up their ultimates for the last fight of this stage if it comes to it.
Envy's going to hold on to the tack visor. They're going to hold on to the res. Faze Clan, they hold on to just about everything here. So Carpe had used a Pulse Bomb.
Good composure, really.
Faze Clan gonna play for this next fight. This next fight would be huge if they're able to win it. The issue is do you want to invest, maybe one of the support ults in a blade for just to get resurrected by Chips? That's, I think, kind of what you're looking at. Like, if you can get Chips early, then maybe you invest in kind of a blade, like win the fight, take it outright.
In the words of Diamond players around the world, kill the Mercy. That's what you have to do. Carpe drops the Taimu there. Riptire actually destroyed him in there. Seagull makes a quick exit, though. Stage wherever the heck I can. Riptire is taken down, of course, so no opportunity really to bust open Faze Clan. It would have been a great chance to do that, especially the way the choke was designed that they were pushing through. But Effects found spree after getting desuited, of course. And EnvyUs will go again.
EnvyUs does lose their solo support, though, in that fight, so you're going to have to get Chips back. There's the rest of the team. You actually take out Raucus here. You'll take that trade if you're Envy, because he's the only one with a support ult. Now the blade's going to come out from Shadowburn. Just trying to slice up Taimu. It's a lot of HP to go through, though, as Shadowburn gets weak again. Taimu on the cart here, just trying to stay alive. Seagull will fall. It's Effect trying to do some damage here with Taimu as well.
That was fantastic from Spree, by the way. That defense matrix to keep Shadowburn alive despite being pressured by Seagull was really impressive to watch.
So now you see Seagull switch off the Junkrat. He goes over to Pharah. So you'll have the Pharah Mercy combination. We'll see what Harry decides to do. Does he stay with 76? No, he goes over to Lucio. So this will be Envy's last attempt, potentially. We'll see if they can make anything happen. Earthshatter, Whole Hog, and Rez on the table. Faze Clan is still held on to this Transcendence.
Well, Matt, the shoe is now on the other foot, and last check, I'm pretty sure Faze Clan were up in the easy count. It's 10 seconds remaining, and EnvyUs have to get to this point. Seagull obviously switching over towards this Pharah here, takes Shadowman very low. That self-destruct, what a clever use of Concussive Blast to get himself out of trouble. Raucus goes down, Spree is also knocked to the ground. Perfect way for Coco, gives himself up as a sacrifice, but there's the res. Coco and Harry Hooker back in action. EnvyUs aren't done just yet. It's going to be one final swing in the hammer, and effect helps him find Shadowburn. They're going to get the second checkpoint here. Again, not a moment too soon.
They're not going to have a ton of time, though, to complete the map. 1 minute and 20 seconds and counting. You used every ult you had there to get it done. See the res come in there from Chips. Because now when we go back to game, you'll have Shadowburn with the blade, you have Carpe with a pulse bomb. You're going to build up towards the sound barrier as well. Be the pulse bomb that comes out from Carpe, you don't get anything with it, as Faze putting a ton of pressure on Envy, trying to deny them access around the corner.
Yeah, Faze putting themselves in between EnvyUs and the payload here, which puts them in a compromising position. It means they either win the fight or they get completely smashed and caught out of position. 2 for 2 though. Actually, Spree getting decent, so just the 1 for 2 at this stage, and they recover. Shadowburn comes back in, has himself a Dragon Base in the next fight, and TymeOo has stayed on this Roadhog pick throughout the entirety, pretty much of this attack, for better or for worse.
I mean, he's giving obviously a ton of ult generation to the other team, in terms of Shadowburn and Carpe, right? We saw Shadowburn last year, World Cup, a long time ago, but what did he do? He would just kind of, just build up his ult on these tanks, all the big HP targets, and then just kind of dart in, start taking them out. TymeOo definitely the largest HP target here is Coco. Earns himself an Earth Shatter. When does he decide to use it? Won't have a chance here. Shadowburn cuts right through him. See, Seagull now switches over to Zarya, so it's going to be the triple tank coming out for Envy. Doesn't matter, it's going to be Envy using a sound barrier here, trying to stay up, forcing the sound barrier out from the side of Faze Clan. The blade being used from Shadowburn as well, only 6 seconds left. See if Envy can get back towards the point. Coco with the Earth Shatter going to be forced to dart on in.
You can't stall with the Reinhardt, it's not possible. It's overtime, Chips comes in, it's a big res. Both tanks are back up on their feet. Now Rocky's going to go for the Transcendus up on the payload here, and Coco needs to give a bit of ground. Spree's gunning for him, he's low on health. The dash route from Shadowburn takes it low, and now the whole hog from TymeOo. Mostly mitigated by the defense matrix, but he's able to get a bit of extra work done. It's the D-suit on Spree. Shadowburn falls to a fire strike somehow from Coco. That's not a mistake you can afford to make at this stage of the game. Overtime is in effect, but EnvyUs are on the road.
Envy needs to be perfect throughout. It's going to be effect close to a pulse bomb. Seagull working his way towards a grab. You had to use a big res there from Chips to make it happen. Chips switches off of the Mercy. He'll go over to Ana, gives him healing at range. Shadowburn getting close to a blade. Let's see though if Effect can land a big pulse bomb here. Coming over the top. Connects onto the head of Fact Fiction. Takes him out.
That's a home run for Effect, and there's still more work to be done though. He's paved the way for EnvyUs to get an easy passage towards the gold box of victory. Self-destruct drops down there. So close, man. So close to the end of the map. Raucus in the back corner. Gets the bio grenade down. Oh, Shadowburn tries to go in with the Dragon Blade, but he's knocked aside for Coco's hammer. He takes damage, and he's knocked away from his target of choice. That's perfect. TymeOo hook on towards Joe Meister, gets the job done. Spree's just going to get lasered down by the Zarya. Nothing he can do to mitigate the damage. Whole hog, get off my payload, get off my lord, get off my map. Envy are going to make it a real match.
On the Roadhog, it looks like at least at the beginning. Okay.
We'll see how this one goes. Make some noise. This is where it gets real interesting, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
The Bastion, the President, has arrived.
I told you, you can't count anything out with Envy.
Oh, I think
Okay.
Fact Fiction saw the Bastion.
He got out of the
He got out of dodge real quick. It's not going to be
no!
enough, though. He gets completely gunned down, and TymeOo is just the absolute picture of composure right now. It is another day at the office for him. Seagull's found Raucus. No chance of an early EMP. Shadowburn thinks twice about trying to challenge this Bastion. And again, TymeOo, it's like playing cello in a marching band. He's got to come forward, set up, get some damage, then move in towards recon mode, set up again, and so on and so forth. I don't know how Faze is going to access him.
I mean, you have a lot of damage being put down by Seagull as well. Coco trying to protect his Bastion just a little bit. TymeOo just free-firing around the corner, connects with one, so now you know that Carpe's trying to come on this flank. Carpe has to be so careful not to get chunked down here by the Bastion, as there comes the EMP coming in from Raucus, but just more damage being taken down from TymeOo at range. Harry putting down a ton of damage as well. They're going to make this work.
There's nothing to be done. Spree can only just throw himself with the payload, and the Bastion has worked. EnvyUs going for something a little bit different, and we know we love a bit of El Presidente. EnvyUs soaking up the glory now. One giant step towards the conclusion of this series. Faze must shake them off of this payload, and they must do it now.
This is bad. This is not good for Faze. You see the Bastion now on the payload for Envy. You're gonna get the damage boost here on the Seagull, potentially putting down some more damage. As Seagull now builds up towards a Riptire, you're gonna have Harry getting close to attack visor. Chip's going to get the res as well. Faze Clan, Raucus used the EMP. He's not gonna be close to a Transcendence. It's gonna be Seagull takes out Carpe. He's gonna use the Riptire here as well. Gonna go high off the wall.
What on earth?
Searching for some players here.
Oh, pink
going
boys.
for supports.
That's going to be it. It's a slam dunk with the pulse bomb. And guess who's in tank mode? It's Taimu. Just over the payload here. And maybe the ultimate didn't even need to be used here, but any extra ground that EnvyUs are making at this stage of the game is just a bonus.
It's a ton of progress.
The Resurrect is there. The Earthshatter is there. They've got these shotgun or ultimates coming online that are really going to allow them to remove Faze Clan from the situation. That may be the first kill from Faze in this stretch of the map. Effect has dropped.
It's going to be Harry Hook taking out Raucus. Raucus actually behind enemy lines by the Mega Health Pack. Taimu is taking out Fact Fiction. There's going to be an Earthshatter. Does Coco connect with anything? It looks like he's going to dive back. No, potentially, potentially try and shield his Bastion as Taimu gets hit with a Pulse Bomb. Taken out, bring right back into the fight, though. That's when Chip's going to use the res. It's going to be the Dragon Blade that comes out from Shadowburn. He's able to get one. Coco takes out Joe Meister as Envy is still advancing the payload here.
There's an overemphasis on the back line, and EnvyUs have taken yet another point this entire round. Rawhide, since that second checkpoint at least, has been in overtime. So they're just pushing all the way through. They've not been shaken off the payload yet. FaZe have to overcommit to this backline to try and get these threats out of the way. Now you're getting frustrated. Now you're getting jittery. This is where they must use these ultimates. They finally accrued a decent amount of ultimates, but they've got a support ultimate even. That's great. They're going to have to use it well.
They're going to lead the way with the sound barrier. It's going to be Taimu, though, getting set up here, trying to heal himself. He eventually will fall. So they do deal with Taimu. Seagull will fall as well. There comes the Transcendence. Finally, Taimu. He will play the Sombra effect on the Tracer. Seagull will pick up Diva responsibilities yet again on the defensive side. You won't see a Tracer here from Faze Clan. You'll see Carpe run the McCree.
Right, so the onus is on Faze Clan to locate these weaker targets on the side of EnvyUs, these DPSs, these supports, because they're going to be pretty tricky to dig out, like I said earlier on. So Carpe on the McCree here, so this is good response as well to a diving defense from EnvyUs. So they try and throw Coco into the mix. A quick flash can really make short work of that Winston. And again, Carpe wants to sit back, give a lot of ground. No, we don't make a hero, I might add. Didn't work out last time. He's learned his lesson.
Yeah, Taimu can keep contesting the cart here as Sombra just kind of impede the progress, keep getting onto it. See already 30 seconds left for Faze Clan. They're so worried about players potentially being behind him. Shadowburn going to get dangerously low. Needs to get out with his life. But now you see Taimu getting closer and closer towards an EMP.
Seconds.
They may come with the EMP over the top and then the big push.
10 seconds now. Oh, it's getting a little bit tight. No, the EMP! Raucus just evaporates into thin air. It's like he never existed. Taimu's able to get Spree out of his suit, and that's it. The timing is so good. EnvyUs looks to take this one away now. Spree desperately blasting away with the pink pistol, but I really don't see it doing the job right now. Seagull puts him in a cone of silence. He actually gets resuited here, but Coco's joined the fight. FaZe, this is where they leave everything out on the field. Everything they've got left in the tank now needs to be put to its fullest use. Discord Orb's going to force Coco away. You can see how low he is on the screen. Seagull's actually the only player for EnvyUs right now to really be on payload duty. They're going to disengage. They've done this before. They can wait for the rest of the team to regroup. Taimu coming forward though, rather aggressively. He's very close to another EMP. That could be the death sentence.
It's going to be both support ults for Envy. The sound barrier comes out for Faze Clan. They do have the Dragon Blade. It'll be Coco falling here. Taimu going to get the EMP here. He's going to use it. Let's see if Envy, they combine it with the sound barrier. Let's see if they can win the fight.
That looks like this might do the job, Shadowburn. It's got to be a Dragon Blade, but he doesn't even get a chance to use it. In fact, takes him down before he gets the opportunity. Now the Discord Orb on Fact Fiction. It's all well and good that he's big and red and angry, but he's going to get cut down very quickly. And you can see him. Attempts to access the payload. Harry Hook getting it done. Overtime is done. The Kings have returned to their throne. The Seagull is home to roost. And EnvyUs get themselves that title.